Hello, and thank you for joining us today for our BNI San Diego podcast. I'm really excited. I've got my friend, colleague, and fellow BNI member, Mike Winters. Mike, where are you right now? And I'd love to be able to have you share a little bit about you as a residential realtor in San Diego. Tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, thanks, Ed. I'm so excited to be here. Been kind of keeping up with your podcast, and it's cool, and I feel honored to be able to chat with you today. I'm in North San Diego County, about 10 miles from where I was born and raised and grew up, and have been here my whole life.
So wait, you're an actual San Diegan then, like a true San Diegan?
Yeah. I grew up in Escondido, and my wife and I in 1995 crossed the border from Escondido to San Marcos. So far, it's the next town over. So, we've been raising our 5 kids here for the last 28 years, and got involved in real estate about 25 years ago. I've had the benefit of being able to work with all these people I know, and maybe I'm related to, or I've had community with, or gone to high school with, or whatever it is over the years. And interestingly, I don't know if you and I didn't talk about this, but when I was invited to BNI, I thought, man, I don't need to know more people. I know tons of people. Why do I need to go have breakfast with a bunch of strangers when I've got plenty of contacts, I've got plenty of people I know. But it took one visit, and that was 10 years ago, and I'm still part of the same chapter, Well,
it's interesting that you mentioned that, because it's a different type of relationship,
right?
Where friends and family, it's amazing how many of our friends and family, do they really know what we do? Do they actively look for referrals for, probably not. When you join BNI or you become a part of any networking organization, because there's some great ones out there, the intention or your focus is very different.
100%. I would say, I would tell people, look, I may know 300 people that know me, like me, trust me, are willing to refer me. But if they deliver mail for a living, or they're, a civil engineer, and I love postal workers, and my daughter's a civil engineer, but they're not necessarily thinking about referrals. They go to work, and versus 30 people who every day know what it's like to hustle, and they're not promised a paycheck, and they're entrepreneurs, and they're looking for that next referral. There's a lot of value there. So they're different. They're certainly different, but
absolutely
tons of value, and that's that was, like I said, in December. We're coming up on December here next month. It'll be 10 years for me.
It's amazing how it goes by like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I love our topic today. The topic is no one likes a referral hunter, or do they? I love that. It's very intriguing, and let's get into it. Let's get into the conversation.
Well, I showed up to visit at this chapter 10 years ago, and I've been to other business networking things in the past, and there's not always this person at those events, but every once in a while, there's one or two of these people, and they're a referral hunter for themselves, right? They're coming up, hey, I just met you 8 minutes ago. You owe me a referral now, or whatever it is. I came to your meeting, or maybe, hey, I met you last Wednesday at a meeting, and now I'm giving you a follow-up phone call. Do you know anybody that you could refer to me? And it's like, man, I don't even know you, kind of thing. And that kind of referral hunter, I think, is what comes to mind. And I don't really appreciate those sort of people. I try not to be that person, right? Giver's gain is, our philosophy here at BNI, and certainly hunting for referrals for yourself isn't necessarily a giver's gain mentality. However, when I'm hunting for referrals for other people, totally different, feedback, totally different attitude, totally different reception that I get, from people. Do you experience that, Ed?
Oh, absolutely. And I love, the more I think about this idea of hunting, when my wife and I have recently started watching this show that we love called Alone. I don't know if you've seen it. Like, people are dropped, remotely somewhere, and they've got to survive. and it's a different element when you're out hunting just for yourself, right? When it's just about me, you'll kind of take whatever. But when you're hunting, if you've got a family back at home that you're going out and you're hunting for, your reasoning, everything about what you do is totally different.
Yeah.
So I love the idea that, as you said, when I'm hunting for somebody else in my chapter or a colleague, when I'm doing something for somebody else, it's a totally different mindset, and just the flow of it just is amazing.
Well, people respond a lot differently too. And that's, I'll give you like a couple of examples. I mean, for me as a realtor, like I said, growing up in the same area and serving the community that I'm really pretty deeply connected to, I haven't necessarily made a career of going out and knocking on people's doors and cold calling. But no, I've done that. I've been in the business long enough to where I think, hey, but really I've done that out of the mindset of, I want all my neighbors to know the great window washer and carpet cleaner and roofer and painter and plumber, electrician and landscaper that I know. I've got these great contacts, these great relationships that I've developed over many, many years. And I want my neighbors to know about it. And I also want my colleagues, these professional contacts, these allied resources that I've got, I want them to be taken care of. I want them to be well fed, And so I have been around my neighborhood where nobody likes to sell their homes. I've lived here for 24 years in the same house, and no one else wants to move. So if I knock on their door, and as soon as I tell them I'm a realtor, it's a non-starter. I mean, They're like, oh, I don't want to sell. They're already backing up, before I even tell them my name, But when I say, oh, hey, I get it. I lived here too. I don't have any plans on selling myself. I understand, But you know what? I work with a bunch of excellent professionals, and I'm just here to see if you have any needs with your home. Again, painter, plumber, roofer, electrician. I've got some really great relationships with some excellent professionals, and I'm just kind of going around the neighborhood sharing, who I know. And I'm doing that for two reasons. One, I care about my neighbors, but number two, and I'm being honest, I care about these people too. I want my HVAC contractor and my carpet cleaner to, do business in this neighborhood. And they stop backing up, they start to lean in, the door stays open. And over time, the three great things that happen is, number one, I create a little bit of business for my partners, which is excellent and amazing. Number two, I make a connection, with somebody that I otherwise didn't have the opportunity to really make a lasting connection with. And then, of course, number three, I become the answer man, the resource, their
go-to person for anything they need.
Yeah. And so that's more of a cold situation. But I know that there's a lot of people I've talked to over the years that are part of BNI because they don't want to do that. I mean, they're part of BNI so that they don't have to.
Because that phone is so heavy, nobody wants to call and make a quote unquote sales call.
Yeah, they would say, but there's fangs and it's, it hasn't shaved in a while and you don't want it near your face, right? Your phone. But the fact is, if you're a business owner, if you're a business person, and if referrals are important to you, which ostensibly, if they're not, you're probably not listening to this. You're probably not involved with BNI.
This is not your business. Yeah.
If referrals aren't important to you, but if referrals are important to you, then following up with your clients, your sphere of influence, your community, your other business colleagues, like you've got to figure out a way to do it. And I find that when I walk away from a power team meeting, for instance, and I'm reminded of just what an excellent litigation attorney I just heard from, or estate planning attorney I just talked to, right? A one-to-one, a power team meeting, even just a chapter meeting. It's not hard for me to pick up the phone and start dialing. And with the mindset, and you got to be somewhat judicious, about maybe who you're calling. But, first thing I would want to say to a bunch of BNI members is, you got to practice this. For the sake of your own business, you got to practice this. And if you aren't, and we've got some people in my chapter, right? They love prospecting. They love they love calling. They love cold calling. They love knocking on doors. I mean, it's what they're built for. They love it. And then there's others of us that say, oh, that's just not my personality.
Yeah.
You know? And, I get the opportunity to be a professor up at Cal State University, San Marcos. So
Great school.
I teach a business professional development course to a bunch of upper division students, juniors, seniors.
Oh, wow.
And they have this mentality like, oh, that's not me. I'm not a good public speaker. I'm not a good salesperson. I'm an introvert. I can't. These are all skills, and to say it's a personality thing is to kind of make an excuse a little bit, right? So we as BNI members, we kind of end up doing that too. And my recommendation, my challenge, right? What I would strongly suggest people do is take that chapter list, right? I got my roster bumping around here somewhere. We use a printed roster every week. And I call people that I know, and sometimes people I don't know very well. And I just say something like, hey, I'm sure I've told you in the past, but I'm part of an amazing group of professionals, right, that offer excellent services. They're all people that I've personally vetted myself in many instances. And I just want to know, is there anything going on that you have a gap, a hole, that you need to fill, whether that's in the real estate space, which is easy for me, to speak to, but it could be estate planning or financial planning. It could be, health and wellness, right? Chiropractor, dentist, personal trainer, that sort of stuff. And people every once in a while, are confused why I'm calling, So another quick tip is that when I'm calling people, hey, Ed, how's it going? This is Mike with Hillside Properties. How's your day going today?
Doing great. Having a great day.
Well, good. Hey, listen, I'm just out working today. Friday, are you working Fridays?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Any day, every day of the week, it seems like anymore.
Same here. I'm working Fridays, looking forward to the weekend, and this is part of it. Part of my making business calls is calling you. It includes you, and I thought of you yesterday because I had coffee with an estate planning attorney, and he just really impressed me with what he knows and what he does. And I've seen him serve some of my clients, and I'm wondering. I know you're a homeowner. I know you got kids. Do you have a will and a living trust?
Mm.
And it's just you can
what a smooth and very natural conversation.
Yeah. So, but I do mention that this is a business call, right?
Because, you know what? That actually went right by. I didn't even, that wasn't, yeah.
But people are a little weird about, well, I don't want to call my friends or call my family and then hit them up for business. And it's like, yeah, but why else are you bothering them in the middle of the day? It's what professionals do.
And who do you want to help even more, right? Those that you're around. You want to be able to meet their needs. I mean, any good friend is going to help meet the needs of their friends when they need something.
Totally. Well, anyway, it just gets my mind shifted to where I'm contributing. I'm calling with the out of contribution, and I really need to believe that,
yeah,
right, for it to be authentic. But sometimes people say they're a little confused about it. They're like, well, why are you calling me, telling me about this group? You want me to come visit, or what do you? I'm like, no. I mean, to be honest, I get incoming calls all the time from people that need help with stuff. And so that's how I do my outgoing calls. You already know I'm a realtor. I don't need to call you to remind you of that. But my business does require me to stay in front of people. And so I'm wanting to make contact with you. And what I can bring is, lots of other great professional relationships that I've got. And they'll say, well, now I can't think of anything right now, especially if I put them on the spot. If I've interrupted them, they're in the middle, they just got off one phone call to take my call. And so something else I might do at that moment is I might say, hey, speaking of referring people, I mean, tell me a little bit more about your business. Like, what's an ideal referral for you?
Ah, yeah.
And like, who doesn't want to? I'll tell you one funny thing is about a third of people I ask that question to don't have an answer.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And these are salespeople.
Well, they're people that own businesses, or they're doing something.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't ask that of somebody that, for a living, is just working, like I said, maybe delivers mail.
Yeah.
So I need to know who I'm calling, right? I wouldn't ask.
That's an important part of it.
But when it is people that do have a business, and I ask them or they're in sales, what's a good referral for you? Yeah, about a third of them are like, well, I mean, they don't have a great commercial, which then leads me to say, you ought to come check out what we're doing on Thursday mornings or Wednesday at lunch or whatever your chapter meeting is. So I don't know, I tend to talk all over the place, right? So I just to recap real quick is like when you go out and hunt for referrals for your referral partners, number one, it's going to make you better, right?
Absolutely.
It's gonna knock the fangs off, get a nice clean shave on that phone so that it's okay to rub on your face. All right, I can hold it up here. It's not going to hurt me, right?
Because you're doing something for somebody else.
Exactly. And so you're going to improve, just like so many people tell us about BNI. Yeah, I would love to have gotten a referral, but honestly, I got better at public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
My commercial came better. Our financial planner just this last week said, hey, I've got to do a bunch of presentations over the coming week, and it's a big deal. And I'm telling you, I didn't think this as an added benefit, but I'm so much better prepared to give these presentations in this next coming week because of the fact that I have to give presentations at BNI.
Oh yeah.
And so anyway, it'll make you better. It'll make you a better salesperson. It'll make you a better service provider contributor. That's what it'll do. You'll get better, right, at it. And then number two, which that isn't even the top priority, but it's what I'm listing as first. Second, you're finding referrals for your referral partners. I mean, what could be better than that? And givers do gain.
Absolutely. One of the things that I was thinking about as you were talking, there's another side of this as well. So in order for you to be able to talk about your referral partners in the room, you actually have to get to know who they are. That means you're doing one-to-ones. That means you're building those relationships in the room so that you have the confidence that when you go and talk to someone about them, the kind of the people that you're working with. Because let's face it, we all know that when we refer to someone, when we are willing to step out and refer to someone, our reputation goes right with that referral. Yeah. So to be able to build those solid relationships through months and years, and again, you're coming up on 10 years, the people in your room become like family.
Totally.
And it's a very natural conversation when you're out talking with someone, because you spend so much time with these people, you get to know with them, you break bread, you do one-to-ones, all of these things. But in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to know the people in your room.
Absolutely. Yeah, it kind of, leaning into, I'm going to set aside 30 minutes or 60 minutes on the day of my BNI meeting to make calls.
Yeah.
Block it out on my calendar. I'm going to make calls from 3 to 4 in the afternoon or 10 to 11 or whatever it is. There's all these added benefits that come with it. And you're right. You're not going to get very far if you don't know your chapter members.
Yeah.
If you don't know your referral partners. And, but your credibility goes up immensely.
Oh my gosh.
By calling people and saying, oh, I've got an excellent this. I had somebody ask me yesterday, a past client of mine, hey, Mike, I'm trying to buy a couch. And it's really hard for me to buy the kind of couch I want. What I was thinking about doing is maybe like, what if we could reupholster and I go, oh, I know somebody. I go, let me give her a phone call and get back to you. I got back to her. I said, yeah, the person I know is busy filming for HGTV because that's how good she is, who, by the way, I met through BNI, right? And I said, but I'll keep looking for someone to help you with the couch. And immediately she's like, whoa, somebody that's on HGTV? Wow. Like, my esteem.
Your credibility. Yeah.
That wasn't my goal, right? I had no idea this person was going to ask me about, a couch, right? But having those contacts and having that contact mentality of networking, making connections, like I said, you're going to get better. You're going to be esteemed higher. Number two, hey, it's about givers gain. You're finding referrals for your referral partners, which is why I'm in BNI. It's why I joined BNI. Honestly, when I joined, my business was doing really well. I needed some people that I could refer reliably. That's what I needed.
You needed the resources.
I needed the resources.
Yeah.
I needed the painter. I needed the roofer. I was managing hundreds of residential properties at the time, and I needed people that I could rely on to take care of my clients. You know, but the last and the third thing, and this is not something that's necessarily a goal, but as you get a little bit better at this, you end up bringing visitors.
Mm-hmm.
You end up bringing visitors because you end up talking to people. You have this conversation, then you start to say, you ought to come check out you ought to just come meet all of these people that I'm talking about.
Or you're going to get those people that go, hey, I always hear you talk about these people. How do I meet them?
Right. How do I become a part of that?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've got a business that I'm trying to grow, and this is phenomenal. I go, hey, come on, let me buy you breakfast or lunch or whatever it is, and check it out. And so, I've been able to sponsor a lot of people into BNI, and that isn't because I, get them in a headlock, right, and get their arm behind, and walk them in. It's never that way, right? It's more of this just constant contact. And the reason that this topic came to mind for me, Ed, is because, frankly, my chapter right now, we don't do this very much, right? We're pretty happy. If we stumble across a referral, great, we'll bring it in.
Yeah.
My chapter passed 20 referrals yesterday, right? And right now we're a chapter of 25 people. And that's pretty good. I feel good about that. But the guy that started our chapter, who's a realtor, Norm Venturi, and I was in the chapter side by side with him because I was in the property manager seat while he was in the realtor seat. That guy, after a one-to-one or during a power team meeting, he would say, Mike, I'm going to find you a referral this week. And he would. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he was handing a referral to the spotlight person in our power team meeting or the person he was having a one-to-one with. And that caught on. Some of the other founding members of our chapter, to whom I'm very, very grateful. This chapter is celebrating its 15th anniversary in February, right? And Norm's retired, but I still learn. I'm very grateful for learning this from him. And I would love for my chapter, but I would love to see all of BNI, San Diego, get into this mentality of, okay, I'm going to go hunt. I'm going hunting. And I get it. There's farming and there's all this stuff, but I'm just saying it can be done. And the results of it are you improve, right? Your referral partners improve, and you may even just grow your chapter. And I can't think of a better place to put a lot of energy than being a referral hunter, but the right kind.
Well, and what it speaks of is your intentionality with what you're doing, right? It's having the right mindset, going about building the relationships in the room, and then being able to go out and hunt for referrals for people. And what that does, again, you talked right at the beginning about one of our key core values, givers gain. We show up to give every single week. And like you said, Mr. Venturi was one of the big ones, right?
Yeah.
But what on the flip side of that, when you show up and you give and you give and you give, what happens in return? People want to, oh my gosh, they've helped me so much. I want to go out of my way to help them as well. So it's that mutual benefit. It's not quid pro quo, which is a whole nother conversation.
Right.
We do it because it's truly, we show up to give, but we all benefit when people in the room do that.
Yeah.
I love this conversation. And I know that we're coming down to a close here in just a minute, but Mike, and you're again coming up on 10 years of experience in BNI and then multiple years in business beyond that. If you could share, if you could leave something with someone that's listening that may be kind of on the fence, they're not sure, maybe they're not getting the referrals that they need right now, maybe there's some struggling in some other areas, or they're looking at their room and going, you know what, I've never given that person a referral and I want to figure out how to give that person a referral. What's a good thought you want to leave for them at the end of our time together today?
Well, it's the same thing, but it's from both sides. And the same thing is being very clear about what you need and want as a referral, being specific. And so if you're on the side of, I'm going to go hunt for referrals for that guy over there that I've never gotten a referral for,
Yeah.
you need to go figure out what's a great referral. Where do I find them? How do I know that I'm standing in the middle of a referral? And if you're the person that hasn't gotten as many referrals as you were hoping to get, or haven't gotten any yet, one thing you need to make sure of is that you're very clear about what that looks like. What does that referral look like? And almost to where you're saying, like, this is what I need. And it's okay. We know.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. We're here to help you. So tell us, I'm bad at this, right? I talk about real estate all the time. I'm like, you know what we do. So send me a referral. And I need to get better saying, no, this is specifically what I need and who I can serve and why I can serve them. So it's the same thing, but from two different sides. You know, if you're the one that needs referrals, hey, double down on being able to articulate specifically what you need and where to find those referrals. And if you're ready to pull up your bootstraps and get out there and wade into I'm going to go hunt for referrals, go find out from that person exactly where do you hunt for referrals? You know, where in my sphere of influence am I likely to find referrals for you? I mean, to me, that's a tip that goes both ways. So,
well, and that's a win-win conversation, and that's what we're all about. You know, I love what you just shared. It has great meaning for a lot of people. It has great meaning for me because I want to be able to help as many people as I can, but I've got to know enough about them and know what their product or service is, which just reminded me one last thing, that if you're the person looking for referrals and maybe you're not getting either the kind of referrals that you need or getting very few, here's something to look at. You want to take a good look in the mirror and think about how you're going about sharing with the people in your room. And if people have to work hard at getting you a referral, you're probably not going to get a referral. We've got to really make it easy for people on what to look for and listen for. And sometimes that's getting out of our business vernacular, our business language, because every industry has its own, language. And we get a lot of people that come in speaking their language and you see it go right over people's heads. You've got to make it easy on people. And then the good thing is when you make it easy on people and you meet someone like Mike, it's a win-win situation because he's going to be out there going out of his way to look and hunt for referrals for you. And then it's a win-win for everyone.
For sure. Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. And I will tell you, from this conversation, I thought of 2 or 3 other podcasts that we're going to eventually do in the future because it just sparked some good stuff. But
Great.
Thank you for joining us. I look forward to meeting with you again. And it's always a pleasure to get to hang with you at the chapter and other areas that we get to interact with as well. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ed.
And to our listeners, we look forward to seeing you back with us next week with another amazing guest and topic. Again, thank you for joining us for our BNI San Diego podcast.
This episode of the BNI San Diego podcast has been brought to you by Cruise Productions, a San Diego-based video production company and proud BNI member. You can find us at the intersection where business and creativity meet, or online at cruiseproductionsinc.com.